How's it going, everybody? Shaun Allen here. Another day, another vlog. Today is Thursday, May 21st, 2020. And if I'm not mistaken, let me double check. Yes, today is day 70 of my vlogs here at home from Universal Studios Hollywood. That is the pre-production process. At the same time, I'm also creating the characters. I'm creating all the set pieces, all of the everything. The first piece of animation that I worked on was this one here, and that is a bunch of clouds parting, and it lasted for like 4 seconds. And I was like, you know what, just for fun, I'm going to leave those in the actual cartoon. I'm going to actually use it in this cartoon. I had to colorize this in a way that I never colorized things before, and that was to create things in black and white, which is very difficult. That means I had to create the trees in black and white, the flower in black and white, the character in black and white. Everything about this thing in the beginning was supposed to be black and white. And so basically, I created one set of items, characters, props, sets, trees, whatever, plants, all in black and white. Then I duplicated all of those same characters and props and sets and shrubbery or whatever and colorized them. So I have one set in black and white and another set in color. I think, if I remember correctly, I created like 4 different trees, 4 or 5 different bushes, and I just put them separately in different areas to make it look like it was just this immense forest. So even though it looked like a forest of like 100 trees sometimes, it was really just maybe 4 trees total, but just spread out differently and shaped differently to look different. One of the most challenging scenes that I had to animate was this one here, and that's where he's opening up the chest to see the bracelet. In that shot, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different pieces that were being animated at the same time. When he gets up after he has his powers, that was a challenge because I had to animate his torso, his arms, and his legs. And one thing I forgot to mention was that when I created the characters, everything about the character had to be animated separately, and everything about him, even though he looks like he's one whole character, his entire body could be taken apart and it could be animated for something. So his head, his torso, his upper arm, his lower arm, his thigh down to his leg, everything about him, even his foot, you could take them all apart and they could be animated differently. I used like action figures for like different poses. So for him kneeling down like this, I actually took with me a couple of like action figures, like let's say the Power Rangers, for example. I remember I took the Red Ranger with me at one point, and I just put him in different poses, and I took pictures of that, and I just took the pictures and I animated the basic shape of the character around the figure to make it look like it was something. Also, I took pictures of my actual hand. Like when you see his hand coming up like this, those are actually my hands that you see. I took pictures of my hand. I think it was just one hand, but I reversed it so to make it look like it was both hands. And I animated the part where his hands come up, but it's really my hand with the color man's like arm, basically. There's even another part where I used my hand in a different part of the cartoon where I used my hand to make it look like I was pointing at something. Well, this is the part of the video where he is basically taking his finger and touching the flower. That's this part right here. That was also my hand. He's taking it and he just... I didn't know how to animate the dialogue because I knew there was going to be dialogue at some point, and it looked kind of weird if the characters talk like this. You didn't see any mouth movements. So what I did was I actually took the camera, I faced it towards myself, and I just, lip synced the movement of my lips and took pictures of it. So what I did was when he says no color, I went no, and I just took like a no, that part there, and I took a picture of that, and then it says color. So I basically took the image of my mouth making those expressions like color. So basically that was 3 pictures, and then what I did was I animated the mouth around my mouth to make it look like it was actually speaking the words. And I went to animate it. I had to time it in such a way where it looked like he had a closed mouth and then no more color and stuff like that, or no color. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to show you guys the video. And at the very end of the video, I want you to notice something. This video is done in standard definition, like this right now. Well, actually, I think when I'm editing this video, it looks like it's full screen or widescreen, whatever. When you see the cartoon, it's going to be in standard definition. It's going to look like a big box, basically. But you'll notice something changes near the end of the video. I want you guys to see what it is. So this is the animated cartoon that I created 5 years ago at Cal State Northridge. Enjoy, and I'll show you a little bit more information about this cartoon at the very end. Enjoy.
No more color.
Wrong. Color is better.
So what do you guys think? That was my very first cartoon that I created at Cal State Northridge. I know that the animation may not be as perfect as some cartoons nowadays, but it is what it is, and I got to finish it. Now, believe it or not, I spent a ton of my time in the lab creating this cartoon along with my documentary for a different project I was working on. Again, that story next week. And I even was working on this during class time because I knew this was a big project. I mean, this is 17 pages, okay? Now, did you guys happen to catch the little item at the very end of the cartoon, like I mentioned? Did you not? Okay, I'll tell you. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, the cartoon is like a square format, like a standard definition, basically, like a cartoon of the old days, right? Well, near the end of the cartoon, after he defeats the villain, something changes with the format. It goes from standard to widescreen. Did you guys catch that? That was a little trick that I learned from another film, like my last little like tribute for a movie that I saw, and that was for Oz the Great and Powerful. Now, if you guys haven't seen that movie, I know it's gotten a lot of like negative reviews and all that, but there was one effect in that movie that I was like, that is so cool. I would love to replicate that again. In the beginning of the film, it looks like how you would see the original version of the Wizard of Oz movie in black and white, standard definition, square box. It doesn't look high def or anything. But when he's entering into Oz after he goes through the tornado, the screen starts to move and it opens up into this amazing picture of this weird wonderland, basically. And I saw that. I was like, that would be pretty cool to replicate. And I did it for this one. Now, here's what some people don't know about the film. Even though it looks like it's standard definition for this cartoon, it's actually widescreen because the sides of the cartoon that are black, those are just black cards that are in place to make it look like it was standard definition. Technically, the entire cartoon is widescreen. You just don't know it. So when that part happens in the cartoon where it expands, that's me finally animating the cards out of the way to show the widescreen format. So even though you see those black cards, there's still trees and stuff in the background, but you can't see them because those black cards are in the way. And let me just say that that was a very, very challenging thing to edit because technically I could have easily done that via like Final Cut or whatever, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it, see what happens. And let me just say that that was probably by far one of the craziest projects I worked on at CSUN. That was like one out of like 4 different projects I worked on there. And we actually got to submit that film to the, I think it was the 2016 media, multimedia festival we have there every year at CSUN. I haven't been back there in a while. I forgot what it was called for a second. Multimedia Showcase, that's what it is. And that's where they gather up the best of like their films, cartoons, anything that you see there, games and all that. And my cartoon was featured in the festival, the showcase. And it got a huge applause. Like there were some cartoons and films that didn't get as big of applause as mine did. And my own cartoon was even reviewed by some of the top like critics there at the college and even a couple of people from the industry. And it got really high praise. I think there was like maybe 5 different people that were critiquing the video, and it got really high praise. Like I think each one of them, if I remember correctly, they each gave it like a 9 out of 10. That was a fun one. That was really a lot of fun. And oh my word, that was 5 years ago. That is crazy. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. This was a long video, guys. I apologize, but there was a lot of stories and stuff I wanted to mention in this particular Throwback Thursday because this really meant a lot to me. And next week, I'm going to be talking about another project that I worked on, and it was about the CSUN Food Garden. Some of you probably even have seen my documentary about that. I don't know if I posted it on this channel or my other channel. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but next week, I'll be talking about my CSUN Food Garden documentary where I actually interviewed some people there from the Institute of Sustainability there on site, and more of that next time. Until then, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. It is greatly appreciated. Be sure to check out my other vlogs here on YouTube, as well as my other channels, the educational series, the design video series, and the travel town series. You can find me on Instagram. The link is down below in the description of this video, as well as my P.O. Box address. Thank you so much for watching. And since I stay in Hollywood, still not in Hollywood, I'm at home. That, my friends, is a wrap. See you tomorrow. Still at home 70 days later. Unbelievable. Bye.